Welcome to Talks Within Reach. This is your host, Jake. I'm here with Fancy and Matt. Gentlemen.
What's going on?
How y'all doing?
Oh, man. Another week of football. Episode 9 here. We'll be going over Week 16 game predictions, some fun trivia, some stats, all that good stuff. But Matt, any game for you, Matt, that's like out this week? Any game that made you smile? Any game that made you happy?
Yeah, definitely the Lions coming back into true form after a couple down games. 42-17 over the Broncos. Was going into the week looking at it maybe a shootout, but it was all Lions, and that was good to see. Laporta, 3 touchdowns, amazing, amazing rookie campaign. Still going on at the tight end position. But we also saw Gibbs, 100 yards, got a touchdown. Amon-Ra, 112 and a touchdown. And Jared Goff, after Cam Newton talking to him about being a game manager quarterback, stepped into his role and threw 5 touchdown passes. So
yeah, I think it's so funny when quarterbacks like Cam Newton come after guys, like calling them game changers or game managers. What do they call? Or they call him the game manager, didn't he? It's like, It's like, dude, you had one good year. Like, come on, like you had one good year, and like relax. Like you play with Christian McCaffrey. It's like, you were just as Greg Olsen. You play with Luke Kuechly in your defense. It's like, come on, like let's settle back a little bit here. You are not Tom Brady. But no, yeah, I mean, even though still lost in fantasy, with Jared Goff starting, but the 5 touchdowns looked good on paper, looked good on red zone as well. But for me, I'm sure Fancy was excited about it too. The Cowboys just looking awful. I mean, just awful. 31-10 Bills. Dak for 134 passing, 1 interception. Just that's the MVP, right? That's the MVP is 134 and an interception in a 31-10 loss. Can't play in the cold, man. If they're not in Dallas, they lose. All their losses have come on the road. Josh Allen didn't have that good of a game either, though. 94 passing yards. They did a lot on the ground. He did have 1 passing yard or 1 passing touchdown. I'm sorry.
All James Cook.
All James Cook. If you played against James Cook, I don't think any of us had him in DraftKings either.
I picked him. I picked him as a jinx because in my home league I was playing against
our DraftKings just now.
Oh no, yeah, last week. Yeah.
Really? So it's gonna pop up in the results?
Yeah.
I want to see what his. I haven't looked at it yet. Fancy. I want to see that compared to McCaffrey, because James Cook 179 on the ground, 1 touchdown, and 42 receiving yards and a touchdown. So that was not my shocker of the week, but the game of the week that I wanted to talk about, just because I love watching Dallas just get absolutely pounded. But what about you, Fancy? What game or games stuck out for you?
Before I dive into that, I want to say the Jared Goff that we saw is the Jared Goff I had in mind whenever y'all traded Stafford for him, and I was like, that's a good deal. That everybody thought that it wasn't a good deal. Like, that's the guy that went to the Super Bowl.
Yep.
And remember,
I always think when you talk about that, like Jared Goff, that version, I always think of that Rams Chiefs game, man. I was
just about to say that was such an amazing game.
Yeah, that was still in my mind one of the best games I think I've ever watched, like in the NFL. So
we don't have games like that anymore.
No, this Sunday night is the Patriots and Broncos, so that's what we got to look forward to Sunday night.
Yeah, so. Very exciting. It used to be the matchup,
dude. Little Sheriff and Brady.
Yeah, that used to be the thing, and yeah, definitely the same. What I just said about Jared Goff was the same I feel about Josh Allen, and just the like you said, like not stat wise, but the way the game was played. I mean, he's still the captain on the field, working the system, and and making everything happen in the execution. So that's for all the hate that I give the Bills and Josh Allen. It's like, where's that guy more often than not?
Yeah, I will say, we'll get into it, but I don't want to play the Bills come playoffs. They are a scary team right now. They're looking good. They could beat you on 2 different sides of the ball. They could beat you on the run game, the pass game, whatever. But I mean, it was just funny seeing Josh Allen say, I don't know if you guys saw the post game, but it's funny. Josh Allen, he said that he felt like he was the kid that did nothing in the school project but still got an A. He's like, I was just happy to be out there, man. Everyone else is doing good stuff, and I'm just like, here you go. Here's the football.
And I love to see those games as someone who watched Aaron Rodgers have to score 1,000 points every week for the Packers to even win. It's like it's nice to see that quarterback get that break.
Yeah.
Or
Especially against a good team. I mean,
his defense is serious, and
Yeah.
so to be successful, period, at home or not, is that's a tough win, and as a good one. That was a good one to have. And speaking of just great performances, especially on the road, I mean, how about Baker Mayfield showed up to Lambeau and did what no other quarterback's ever done, have a perfect QBR.
Yeah.
You know?
I didn't even know that until you said that.
Yeah, I mean, his he only threw I think 28 and completed 22 of them for 300. I don't remember exactly
He was
how
384. I could be wrong, but I think 384. Don't
a
quote me.
bunch of yards. All of them were just he was just taking advantage of our weak pass defense. And I mean, he's got weapons, and I think he's a weapon too. And for someone who's kind of been kicked around the league the last couple of seasons, he's making a good argument for why he's in the comeback player of the year talk and why he should still be there next year, or
Yeah.
would be an asset to any team that did want him if he doesn't stay at the Buccaneers.
Yeah.
But for all the quarterback talk and all the touchdowns we just somehow Carolina manages to get a brutal win in the rain off their kicker.
Yeah.
45-cent
tickets. 1 in 12, I believe. 1 in 12 was the record before that game. I'm just happy they beat Arthur Smith. Maybe that'll be the reason why he gets fired at the end of the year. I don't know. But that was definitely a tough loss for the Falcons, just because we went over the standings last week and we talked about how the Falcons have the best chance at being 7-7 at the top of the division, because they were at the top of the division, whether the divisional record, whatever it is that the tiebreaker was. When we all didn't really expect Baker to do that in Lambeau, because like you said, Lambeau's tough to play in, and Baker got it done, and then they don't get it done against Carolina. It's brutal.
Crash and burn.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't a pretty one. But that leads us into the DraftKings segment here. We get to look over the results. We have a new winner this week.
That was
It's not me
week.
this time.
You guys had some high scores.
It's not me this time. Matt still did a pretty good job.
Yeah, I finally have a good week, and then you guys just absolutely kill it.
Yeah, I mean, about 140 has been winning every week. Wow, look at those. Wow, I did not see you had. I mean, I guess I didn't get to see your results. I only got to see Fancy's. But the fact I did not know you had James Cook. So if you would have just drafted a better fucking team, dude, you'd have been up there with us too.
Yeah, Bijan.
Bijan hurt you.
Really hurt me there.
Elijah Moore hurt you. Yeah, I did. But Joe Flacco getting the job done for me, man. I mean, I tripled down with the Browns. But I mean, Fancy, dude. Njoku, Kyron Williams got us both a lot of points. I mean, you probably had 2 of the top 3 running backs in week 15 there. And then like you said, Purdy getting it done. I mean, Fancy, when it went into that game, you said you looked because it shows the timer, and I think you were down.
I think I was down 30.
Yeah.
I think I was down 30 something. And I said, oh man.
Man.
Because you still had, I think, you had someone
I still had Williams. He played the 3:00 game as well.
Right. So it was like you weren't done. Like that game was still going, and then I had just those 2 guys left. And yeah, I mean,
the defense has been slow lately for you.
Yeah,
Not with the defense. We all picked good tight ends. We like those tight ends, huh?
Yeah, those are. I mean, I was kind of half and half. Ferguson, which,
Yeah.
But I think typically anybody would have thought Dallas would, that's like Dak's go-tos. Just drop it right in front of you for 8-10 yards.
They just had no offense that game, man.
And then we had the trifecta of all taking Reed. And again, that's one of those weird where it's 17.2 is a great score. Somehow it's not,
Yeah, and I feel like his buy-in or cost or whatever, it wasn't that high. So you feel like that would, and then you have Nakua who puts up 10 points, which you'll take any week in fantasy, right? And he's got a cold, so they just expect a lot out of him. But yeah, I mean that's a win for Fancy. I mean that's a good win to have. I mean I still feel like I had a great week. 169 is a better number.
You definitely can't hang your head
No.
at 169,
I
but
mean Matt's been on the lowest end. I think 4 weeks in a row now, 3 weeks in a row now. So maybe he'll do something this week.
Probably not.
But probably not. Let's check this week's thing though. You did not go with Flacco.
Double Flacco.
Double Flacco. I'm trying to see if we have a trifecta here. Do we? I don't think we
oh,
do. We went both went Njoku again though, and you went Trey. We all kept the same tight ends as last week.
oh yeah, it's hard not to.
Yeah.
It's hard not to. I mean,
It's funny how many times we've seen you guys double up on the flex with double tight ends there. Yeah, we got double Flacco. Matt went with Jordan Love against the Panthers. He's liking it once again though. He gets the Monty homie pick in.
Yep.
Just trying to see some other matchups that I like here.
So
Even though Ferguson let Fancy down, he went with him again.
So I went with Spears this week, just with how they were able to shut down Henry last week.
Yeah, it was like 18 carries, bro, for like 6 yards or something. It was crazy.
It was insane. So my thought process is they may transition. I mean, they've already been throwing Spears in there quite a bit, but they may, like they did, a couple weeks ago, they really highlighted Spears. So I'm taking that shot with him in there.
Yeah, fair enough. I think I guess one thing that I was thinking is Fancy. You've always said Green Bay's run game or run defense. I'm sorry, is just rough. I mean, if you can run the ball, Packers are a good team to do it on, and you see it against the opponent's ranking. There with Chuba Hubbard, and then with Breece Hall. I loved the matchup there, especially with the quarterback cycle that they're going through right now. I mean, I think Breece Hall could be in for a good game, and then my other top pick that I liked the most was Godwin. I think he had 12 catches, or maybe even it was 12 or 15. It was crazy, or maybe it was 150 yards though, for a crazy amount of catches. So him and Baker kind of just, I feel like, just got that connection more, and it's you start seeing it too. I know we're getting towards the end of the year. I saw you went Mike Evans, so it'll be interesting because Godwin, Mike Evans, Fancy's got Henry, you have Spears. So it'll be interesting. You both went Smith and Jigba. Me and Matt went DJ Moore. So there is some similarities. But we'll see who takes it. So what's the count here? We have this is the 9th episode, and so we've done 8 of them. I've won 5. Fancy's won 2, and you've won 1, Matt.
That
So
sounds
5,
right.
2, 1 in that order. You're running out of weeks, Matt. You're running out of weeks.
Maybe this week.
Maybe this week, and maybe this week we'll post on our socials. With that
Stay
being
tuned.
said, though, before we do move on to I have some stats within reach for us. How about we all show off the little the sweatshirts? What do you got for us there, Fancy? We'll start with Fancy.
Yep.
it's just Deadpool. It's
That
just
little
classic,
Deadpool action going
classic
on. Matt?
Deadpool.
I love Deadpool. Deadpool's one of my favorite movies.
So funny.
So good. Meowie Christmas. Wow.
And hopefully you can hear it coming through.
You can
Oh
hear it a
my
little
God.
bit. You can hear it a little
Yeah,
bit.
that's funny.
I had two. I had one. My other option I didn't go with was what was the other option? It was something about I do it for the hose, and it was Santa Claus. But you guys both, or Fancy said to go with Mike Tyson, so it says Merry Christmas. So we got that going.
Oh, and then
this is our Christmas
hold on.
episode. So.
Which way do I gotta shift? This way. And then so I got my
What?
little on
Oh,
my shoulder.
Was that Farmville?
It's the Little People nativity scene.
yep.
You know, when I was in high school and Mike Tyson got that face tattoo, I was dead set that I was going to have that same tattoo.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, you're working your way up there, aren't you?
Yeah, but I don't like
It's
tribal. I
it's
don't
getting
like
there.
it.
Oh.
Yeah. It might one of these days. I might hit the lottery.
One of these days. All right, let's get that moved off though. All right, so we got 2 stats within reach for you guys, and then I got a couple other things to dabble in before we go into the standings here. But we're gonna start off with the basic stats within reach for you guys. The first one, obviously, we have 3 wide receivers here. For those that are just listening, I will list them off. Player 1, we have 56 catches, 942 yards, averaging 16.8 a catch. 73 is the longest reception that they've had this season, and 7 receiving touchdowns. Player 2, we have 59 receptions, 1,090 yards, 18.5 average per catch, 76 is the longest reception that they've had this season, 6 receiving touchdowns. And then player 3, we got 74 receptions, 957 yards, 12.9 average per catch, 63 is the longest reception for them with 6 touchdowns. So obviously, we have some with more catches, some with more touchdowns, some with more yards, some with more yards per catch, and obviously a bigger deep ball option. So given those options, which player are you guys picking? No tricks here, obviously, because these are all obviously wide receiver stats. So there's nothing to really trick you in. But maybe you'll be surprised by the names.
I'm leaning number 2.
Okay.
Is who jumped at me just because I love that 18.5 average.
Yeah. I mean, he's catching the football and getting 2 first downs, basically.
Yeah. So I think that's my initial lean. So I'm gonna go 2.
Fancy?
I mean, I'm loyal to the touchdowns, and
You are always low to the touchdowns.
I like player 1. I mean, we're
You're gonna
talking
be very happy.
not quite 2-yard difference in average.
Yeah.
And for 3
what is
less
2 when you're talking
receptions,
about average?
yeah,
You know what I mean?
exactly. I mean, we're splitting hairs really. So I like player 1.
What is that thing you guys say down in the South with the hairs on a frog's ass or whatever? You know what I'm talking about. What is it that you guys say? He doesn't want to say it. You
I
embarrassed?
go with player 1.
You just want to say it. Yeah, I mean, the thing that stood out for me when I saw the stats was just for me that stood out the most was the catches. For me,
Player 3, like a lot more catches
a
for
lot more catches.
Well, I was gonna
It's
so
still 13 in average, and so for me, what my perspective is, I mean, we've seen it all year long with Mahomes and all these other quarterbacks that are struggling with these wide receivers and other options dropping passes, right? So when I see this, and I'm like, if those guys are getting those yards in that many that minimum of catches, it's like, look at this guy that's maybe more of a third down option, that safety option, but he's still getting 13 a catch and just has as many touchdowns. So that's where I was leaning. But then when you guys see who it is, then you'll be like, oh yeah, now I know why you're leaning that way. But let's see who you guys picked.
Oh,
Fancy. You were talking about DK Metcalf last night.
Okay.
You went with
Yeah.
DK, and then I mean, no bad options at all. But yeah, I mean, 74 catches for Devontae Smith really threw me off. When if you were to ask me who has more catches, Devontae Smith or Brandon Ayuk, I would have said Brandon Ayuk. That's the one that would have,
74. That seems like a lot for him, but
yeah,
that's like a quiet 74. Like I
felt
don't
like it
think
was
of him.
too, like a very, very quiet 74.
Yeah.
Well, and you got to look at the strength of schedule. It's like, what defense is he kind of grinding those 13 yards for on average? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like
The Eagles do
like,
have some of the toughest,
right.
one of the toughest schedules. Yeah,
So that guy's had to fight for those yards,
and he's a skinny guy.
Yeah, he's small.
Yeah,
comparatively speaking.
Yeah, I mean, if you go from DK, and literally from size, you go from left to right. It's DK, the biggest one. Brandon Ayuk he's pretty well built, and then you have Devontae Smith, who's a twig.
Dude, DK.
Well, so I'm looking at because I was trying to think of in the top of my head. So Tyreek's got 97 receptions.
Yeah, I think Keenan Allen's at the top.
Well, yeah, and I was gonna say Keenan Allen, and he's got like almost 1,200 yards, I think.
Yeah, and he has like 105 catches, but he hasn't played the last week. So
he might not play. Yeah, he might not play again with no quarterback.
Yep. So the next option that I have up for you guys is it kind of still a stats within reach thing. And that's why I didn't want to talk about it too much beforehand, is because I wanted to get your guys' like raw input on it. So we have 4 10-4 teams that are currently in the league, right? I will give you guys those teams if you guys need them. But I'm going to give them to you not in that order, obviously. But given the record, they're all 10-4. PF is points for, PA is points allowed. So you can look through the options, and I guess what I wanted to do here is not have you guys pick one. I wanted to see if you guys could get the options right on which teams they were.
If we think who is who.
Right. So this is not in order at all. So don't take it at that. The 10-4 teams are currently the Lions, the Eagles, the Cowboys, and the Dolphins.
Okay.
So you got Lions, Cowboys, Eagles, Dolphins. So all 10-4. You guys have to kind of guess option 1, option 2, option 3, option 4. What teams are which? It's gonna be a little bit harder than you guys think.
So 1 and 4, I would say the Dolphins.
Right, because the Dolphins do it, and that is the biggest one. That's the easiest one that I will like give you more hints towards. Obviously, they have, I think it's like the second or third highest now because they've had a couple down weeks. So I don't know if they're at
Yep.
2 or 3 on that. But no doing any research on that because I don't want you guys to see the PF. But yeah, I will give you guys that. Obviously, the Dolphins are not option 2 or 3 because they do have one of the most points.
Yeah. So that's what I'm just trying to walk through right now, right?
I want to say Lions are number 2.
Okay, so you have 2. I'm gonna write down that way I don't forget what you guys have. And you said Lions are 2, Fancy?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Cowboys got to have a lot of points scored as well. So I would
Correct.
say Cowboys and Dolphins are between 1 and 4. You agree, Fancy?
I put Cowboys at 4.
Okay. So I'll go Dolphins 1,
Eagles 3,
and then Eagles 3.
Hold on, you guys are both going Eagles 3.
I think
Yeah, I'm working on it with them. We're holding hands.
Yeah,
No,
I went Miami, Detroit, Philly, Dallas.
Okay, so you guys are going together then. That's what you guys want? Okay.
Yeah.
So you guys are going Miami, Detroit,
Yeah.
Eagles, and then Cowboys.
Yeah.
I'm gonna switch 2 and 3.
2 and 3. So you guys aren't okay. So 1 and 4, you guys have Miami at 1, Cowboys at 4.
Correct.
Okay. You guys have Miami at 1, Cowboys at 4, and then Matt, you were going Detroit 3, Eagles 2.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. Matt, you went 100% because of that. Or no, you didn't go 100%.
Oh no, we swapped.
You guys swapped them. Yeah. So
dang it.
You guys went Miami, Detroit, Eagles, Dolphins, where it was Cowboys, Eagles, Lions, Dolphins. So yeah, I mean, I just thought it was interesting because when I looked at it, I was like, wow, that is a crazy like stat to look at because like you said,
They're really
Cowboys were
close.
scoring a lot, but the Dolphins were scoring a lot. So it's like you knew it was those two, and then you knew the other two were letting up a lot of points, just which one it was. But I mean, other than that, if you didn't swap, you guys would have been 0 for 4. Just to go to show you, it's just it's an interesting year. I mean,
no, but
the
so
Eagles
the good
have
news
been
is
looking good.
our mindset was correct in those two groupings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Groupings were right on which one they were incorrect, obviously.
Yeah.
But before we move on to, we're gonna talk a little bit about comeback player of the year. We're gonna go into the standings, and then we'll get into the matchup. I do have this one. I didn't even talk to you guys about it beforehand, but check out this. Someone posted this, and I was like, could you imagine? Like I was just thinking. They said if I showed you this picture week 1, your mind would have exploded because I'm gonna show you guys the week 15 passing yard leaders, and you're gonna look at them and be like, what the fuck is going on? Like imagine this from a week 1 standpoint, right? We're in week 15 at this point. Imagine this. imagine Joe Flacco being for the Browns, not Watson. Jake Browning for the Bengals, not Joe Burrow, and then Nick Mullins for the Vikings, their third string. Like Flacco was what? Their fourth, technically their third or fourth string, and Nick Mullins is their third or fourth string as well because they had Cousins, the rookie Jared Hall, and then they had Dobbs and then Nick Mullins. So it's like if you look at this from a week 1 standpoint, I mean, I said 384 too, Fancy 381. I was close. I knew it was up there. It was up there. But I mean,
incredible.
Cool to see, man. Cool to see with Baker and Joe, and I mean, who knows what comes out of Jake Browning's career now? I mean, he comes in and he kind of has that same O line that is letting Burrow die. So it's like a team with a good O line, give him a little help. Never know.
Yeah.
Never know.
I mean, it's fun to see those guys. Like, I mean, he was solid at Washington, coming out of college. Like, you never know, as a backup quarterback if they're gonna get that opportunity. and he's making the most of it for sure.
Yeah, and who do the Bengals just beat? Can you guys like refresh?
Yeah, Minnesota overtime.
Minnesota. That's right. That's right. That's right. So I guess Minnesota cut him because when he beat him in overtime, there was a clip of him saying, "That's what you get for fucking cutting me." So that was pretty cool. Just like a good moment for him for sure. But I just want to share that because I thought it was pretty cool. But leading right into that, we will get into the AFC standings. We have a three-way tie in the AFC South. Um, Kansas City's probably going to walk away with the AFC West there. Depending on what happens on Sunday night, I believe that's a Sunday night, right? Or is that Monday night? I think it's Monday night. That's Christmas night that the Ravens and the 49ers play. That'll kind of be a juggernaut matchup. So depending on what happens there and depending on what the Browns do, versus who do they play? The Texans.
Houston, yeah.
Yeah, which CJ Stroud still could be out. You never know. Joe Flacco and the Browns could make a little comeback in the AFC North. The Bills are looking better than the Dolphins to me in the AFC East. I know record doesn't show it. But I think the Bills are going to be a really scary team, man. They're starting to click. They're starting to click, like you said, and they're just getting the job done any way they need to do it. And they're looking scary again. But any team that sticks out to you guys that is kind of like is there one AFC South team that you guys like more than the other, or do you think Denver can come back? Like anything that kind of just stands out that you guys think?
I definitely had hopes for Houston, but with CJ Stroud iffy, I know they're going to be extra careful with what happened to Tua last year. Um, I mean, I like the Colts. I like Minshew. I'd like to see them maybe make a push. Jacksonville didn't look all that sturdy last week, and I think Indianapolis could take that spot.
Yeah, Jacksonville lost 4 straight games. Fraud alert.
Yeah.
Fraud alert.
Yeah, I mean, but Jacksonville does have Bucks, Panthers, Titans to finish out the year.
True.
So they've got a chance to win all
Fix that path.
three.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm trying to think who else.
Yeah, I guess it really depends on whether or not CJ Stroud shows up because that CJ Stroud matchup against the Browns would probably be a pretty good game. But like you said, I mean, they barely snuck by. They barely snuck by against the Titans. But hey, they beat them. They beat them with the Houston Oilers jerseys. So do they get them now? You know,
Well, they should definitely have him back. I mean, by all means,
it's
bring
like
him back to
pink
Houston,
slip, dude. It's like pink slip. Like we beat you, so now we get your jerseys.
Yeah,
Right,
I
now you own
mean,
it.
like we got way more oil in Texas, anyways.
Yeah, yeah. Would you get one?
Oh yeah.
Andre Johnson.
I kind of like. I mean, if they did all like, if they would, I mean, if I could get anybody, I'd like to get a JJ Watt Oilers.
True. That'd be cool.
That'd be nice. Yeah.
That'd be really cool. But then we have the NFC where I think a lot of the more, juggernaut teams, if you will, not just one side of the ball balanced teams are at. You got Dallas and Philly losing this week. Heartbreaker for Philly because we really should have beaten Seattle there. But like you said, Matt, the Lions looking a lot better. Maybe that's what they needed is, we've talked about it a couple of times now that swagger just was not there. And Fancy brought up, Dan Campbell just, when not to, when to go for it. It's like maybe
Right.
it's like that little stuff. So you start getting a little momentum. People start believing in the plan a little bit more, the game plan. Obviously the NFC West, we all agree the 49ers have got it locked in for sure.
Yep.
But hey, I'm not upset that all three of us took Falcons last week because they should have beaten the Panthers. But I'm really happy to see Atlanta drop to the 3 spot there and Baker on top at 7-7. Good for Baker. We'll see. Hopefully it's between the Bucks and Saints. That would be my, favorite picks is them two. But obviously, as we know, look at the other top ones on each division, and that's the garbage division. That's coming out on both sides of the conference too. I mean, I don't think the other side is that low. I think we have 8-6. So,
Yeah.
I mean, a negative record could, or above or under 500 record could come out of the NFC South there. So.
Yep. So Bucks Saints play each other next week. So that'll really be that game that decides it.
Yeah.
Saints get to finish with the Falcons.
Still going to be a rough battle there because
So yeah,
very, very, very interesting. So next week we will get more into playoff bracket, as it will be there'll be 2 weeks left after next week, right? Or 3 weeks? Yeah.
So finish this week's slate, and then we'll have 2 weeks.
Is it?
Yeah.
No, there's
16, 17.
Yeah. 16, 17, 18 though.
Yeah.
17, yeah.
I'll say this is
Yeah,
this is
wow.
the
But with that being said, we did want to talk about comeback player of the year. I think one player on there is still going to shock us. On who's there is Damar Hamlin, just not playing football, just basically breathing oxygen, and he's on the list. Maybe that's just my opinion. Maybe it's a little bit too brutal, but definitely should not be up there. But any other names up there that kind of shocked you guys in terms of like comeback player of the year? Like, because these are the odds as of 2 days ago. So this is right after week 15. So this is like probably the most updated you can get on a book at the moment. But these are the odds. I mean, these are the odds. Through 15 weeks.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm just trying to think of the criteria of comeback player of the year,
That's
right?
what
So
me and Fancy were discussing.
So you think of injury, right?
Yep.
You think of you had a season-ending injury, and you're coming back, and just you're still at the top of your game this next season. So to me, you think of Tua, you think of maybe Lamar. I don't
Stafford
see
too.
what's that.
Stafford too.
Oh
I mean,
yeah,
he was hurt. Yeah.
Yep. See, Stafford, I always think of like he literally plays through.
Yeah.
He'll play with
He'll
his
play half the
broken back.
games. He'll play half the games, and it's just like he was hurt the whole year, but he still played. Yeah.
So that one's tougher, even though
he fits the criteria.
He fits it. But to me, Tua just literally being maybe not even able to play football again if he takes another big hit. I really like that one. And then Lamar, he's playing. In our next topic, spoiler alert, MVP status. So to have the comeback player of the year odds as well is pretty cool for him.
Yeah,
I agree. I definitely think as far as coming off an injury, Tua and Lamar both I think should be higher up. Like the odds against them are pretty impressive. I mean, now as far as just turning around, you're playing. I don't know if Russell Wilson has turned it around enough, to have that good of odds. There was that little hot streak. There was that hot streak, but then now what?
Yeah.
I mean, Sean
Right,
Payton was chewing his ass last week on the sidelines.
So for him, is it almost within this own season? Right? Is it an absolute shit show the first 5 games, and then maybe now starting to actually win
week 6?
I mean, and I mean, almost because that first few weeks was just the a continuation of last year.
Yeah.
And then up until the last couple weeks, it was that was 2013 Russell Wilson. But
yeah,
I don't know. I mean, I don't know what Flacco would have to do since he hasn't played. He's almost like Damar Hamlin status, that he hasn't been playing, to have enough games to give him that good of a. We'll see how he finishes, of course.
Yeah.
And then like Rodgers being up there, it's like
I think the person that's gonna get screwed, man, is Baker. I really do. Like, so we looked it up. I know, Fancy, that you're not gonna remember exactly what it was, but Matt, we did look it up yesterday, and it on basically who has won it, like who's come off an injury, who came off a bad year, who came off of like Eric Berry won it because he beat cancer, like all that stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
He beat cancer and came back and played. It's like it's a big. He played every snap, played all that stuff. I just don't. Man, it's like maybe I am being insensitive or whatever, but it's like I just don't see why Damar Hamlin, like he's never been an all-star. He never has been a Pro Bowl. He's never. It's like unfortunate situation. Wouldn't wish it upon anyone. Obviously, none of us would. It's a freak accident. Hope it never happens again. But just because he's come back and he made the 53-man roster, just gives him comeback player. It's like I just think you're screwing over a lot of people that deserve. Baker. One thing me and Fancy brought up was Baker. The one thing that'll stick with me last year is Baker, getting traded or signed to the Rams on like a Tuesday. They play a Thursday night game against a good. Who was it again, Fancy? You said it yesterday, and I forgot. But they played a damn good team on a Thursday night game. Comes in and beats them with a day and a half of learning the Rams playbook, and then still gets cut. And then still gets cut because Stafford comes back, and we all get it. Stafford's their guy, and they're paying him and all this stuff. But then he signs a 1-year deal with the Bucks, bets on himself, and now the Bucks are 7-7 without Brady. Their defense is kind of trash, and you can debate if you look through the schedule. I know you can do it. You can nitpick all you want through other teams, other players, but if you look through it, Fancy, how many times have we seen the Bucks lose on the last drive after Baker
Yeah.
goes down there, scores, and then their team lets up a 95-yard drive like the Eagles did against Drew Lock and the Seattle Seahawks? It's like
Yeah.
there's only so much you can do. The record does not show how well Baker's been playing, and
Right.
I just think he's getting screwed over. I mean, I wouldn't be upset if Matthew Stafford won it. I wouldn't be upset if Tua won it. Wouldn't be upset if Lamar won it. Joe Flacco. I think those guys are deserving of the award, and we'll see how the rest of the season plays out for Joe and some of those guys. But guys like DeMar, guys like Rodgers, even like T.J. Watt, Brees Hall, why are they? T.J. Watt's a monster.
Well, and
like,
TJ, I was going to ask you, like, so that one he was out.
he tore like pectoral or whatever, remember? And then
Did he end up
came
coming back?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So to me, it's like obviously he's a beast. There's no shade towards him. It's just
he's
I
killing it.
just don't think he's comeback player of the year. It's like
Right.
you missed a couple weeks, and then they let him come back. Then they made playoffs. It's like
so like I mean this year
back.
he should be in the running for defensive player of the year at
right
16 sacks, sack leader.
right.
But that's what I was, again, I'm going back to what's the criteria here, because he's having a great season, but I'm trying to see the correlation between, when the comeback actually occurs type of scenario.
Right.
So.
Yeah. I think some of those odds are just a little bit more inflated than what I thought they would be when I saw the graphic, but no, I mean, hey, that leads us right into our matchups for the week. So we'll get right into the schedule. Last week I led this at 12-4. Our picks at 12-4. Matt at 11-5, and Fancy at 7-9. I'm standing at 74-44. Matt is leading us all at 78-40. So I'm 4 games back. And Fancy is in last at 64-54. Always taking the underdogs, though. Always taking the underdogs. You've done pretty damn well at doing that as well. But we start off with a Thursday night football game with the Rams and Saints, 7-7 each, and well, technically that's tonight's matchup when this episode gets uploaded. But we all took the Rams in that one. I think it could be a better game than we think, honestly. It just
Is
depends
Derek
on
Carr back? Is he hurt? Is he back? Like, I don't know week to week. Like, is he okay? Is he going to play more than 5 snaps?
That wasn't even like he didn't even give a fuck what the answer is. He's tired of Derek Carr's shit. He's just like, is he back? Is he retired? Where is he? Is he is he back home now? Like,
yeah.
No, Derek Carr is starting.
Okay.
So it just depends on what Saints matchup, what Saints team shows up. We can say that about every team, but it is the truth. When the Saints show up, they're dangerous. They just rarely ever show up. But the Rams, they're just more well-rounded. I'd like to see them sneak into the hunt, maybe make a little playoff run, maybe like a week or two,
Olave's out too, right?
I don't know about that one. I'm not sure. I don't have Olave in any leagues, so I've never really, I mean, besides him getting, going 120 miles an hour and getting arrested, I don't know much about his injuries there. But I, as far as I know, they're as active as they can be at Kamara, and everyone's good to go. And then we roll into, so anyone that's looking at the graphic, we have Thursday night games, then we have 2 Saturday games. So we don't get totally spoiled on Saturday, but we do have some Saturday games. 3 or 4:30 Eastern, we have the Steelers Bengals. Me and Fancy going with the Steelers, and Matt, you're going with the Bengals. Matt, I know you probably made these picks beforehand, but I have to ask you, did you see Jamar Chase is ruled out?
Right. So it was, again, but unfortunately before the official designation that he's going to be out. I was still, when I thought of this, I'm still thinking of Browning, and how well he's playing, how he's got that swagger going. So, I still like the way he's got the offense running.
Yeah.
Obviously, Jamar Chase is a huge part of that, but that just means, but for that very first throw he threw to to T Higgins and he dropped it. It would have been like a 30-yard gain for the very start of that game. T Higgins, he's got a lot of upside.
Yeah, he does.
So I think that offense can still run on all cylinders even
Yeah,
without.
I mean, you can even make the debate that I don't know exactly what Jamar Chase's stats are since Browning has started, but he really hasn't utilized them that much. I mean, it's been a lot of Joe Mixon, it's been a lot of T Higgins, a little bit more of Tyler Boyd as well. So it's not like he's very reliant on Jamar Chase. I mean, obviously Jamar Chase is a game changer. But I mean, we'll see what happens. I think Fancy, I don't know about you, but I was just kind of banking on Mike Tomlin. They're gonna make playoffs, right? They're gonna have an above 500 record, and this is that one matchup that you gotta win. You just gotta win this one. Go 8-7. Make the Bengals go 8-7. Take a divisional game, and I mean it's at home, right? I mean these games are they're going to be the deciding factor of whether or not you're going to make playoffs or continue your 16 years or whatever above 500 or whatever it is. Never lose
ever since he's been a head coach. Yeah.
So I mean, it's just one of those where that's what I'm banking on. That's where my talking point was just like, hey, I'll take the coach that needs to win and has just always found a way to do it. And then we have the Bills Chargers without their head coach after what we saw on Thursday.
Poof.
What was it, 170-3? Wasn't in the score? Felt like it.
At halftime?
At halftime. Debatably the coach could have got fired at half, whatever. He still didn't even think that he's going to get fired after the game. But he did.
I saw that he was trying to argue why he should stay, and
he said he still felt like he had the locker room and all this other stuff. So we'll see who they get. I think they're just going to do like an interim thing. I don't think they're going to do anything now. But there's debate. There's maybe Bill Belichick goes over there with Herbert and Keenan Allen and all those big guys. You never know. But yeah, we all took the Bills though. 8-6. Bills are hot. I don't even care that they're away. The Bills are probably going to demolish that shitty Chargers defense. And then
Easton Stick is not gonna be able to do it.
I would hate to be named after a company's hockey stick name.
I use an Easton. I use an S. S19 might be S19.
Easton S19 stick.
I think so.
And then we have the Browns. So this is now the Sunday because that Bills Chargers game is the Saturday night game. So now we go into the Sunday slate, Christmas Eve. Browns versus Texans in Houston. Like we said, CJ Stroud's still questionable. We don't know if he's going to be able to play. It's looking doubtful. I made that pick thinking, ahead of time that he would be back and they're going to be at home and it's a must-win game as we saw with the 8-6.
If he's out and you've got Case Keenum at the helm, what are your thought process there?
I mean, Joe's going to beat him. Joe Flacco is going to beat him. You know what? I was watching that game, the Browns-Bears, because you talked about what was the last couple minutes the Browns came down to beat them, and they literally said Joe Cool, and I was like, Fancy, if you could see my face, I was like, these motherfuckers just called Joe Flacco Joe Cool, not Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is Joe Cool. Don't. That's my Joe Burrow and my Bengals. Remember that? That's mine. I owned them already earlier this season. But now my eyes lit up. I was like, did you just call Joe Flacco Joe Cool? Like, he's probably like that such uncool dad. Like, come on.
Who's calling that game? Do you know?
I don't know, but they should be fired. You heard it here first. No, I really don't know. Because it was a noon game, so I mean it was probably just some random but yeah, that was my process. I mean, like Matt had said, with the Bengals, without getting with Jamar Chase getting ruled out later on, we make these picks on Tuesday. So we're guessing this a little bit ahead of time of some of the game time decisions. So that's me with the Texans. I think if Stroud's out, I think the Browns take it, but I will be rooting for the Texans still. I will say that I do want the Texans to make playoffs. But then we have the Jets Commanders.
We all picked the Jets.
Yeah.
Gross.
Yeah. That should go to show you how bad this game is going to be. I feel like every single game the Jets have played at home the last 100 weeks, it's been raining and cold. I don't know how that's possible, but I feel like it just has been. And yeah, I mean, the Jets defense, that's about it for me. The Jets defense, I'm not rooting for, any offensive quarterback who gosh knows who they're going to start this week. It's probably going to be Fancy. I generally don't even know who they're going to start this week. It might be Eli. I don't know.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. I mean, I'd watch.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Jets defense, I just think the Commanders just won't do anything. Like, I just don't think they're gonna, I just don't think they're gonna put up any points. So
I think it's going to be a 6-0 game or something. Then
I think it's fair, like a fair take every Jets game. Like, I think it's fair to say, like, there might not be a touchdown in this game.
right, yeah,
Like,
or are we going to see the 9-7 score that we saw with
yeah, a score-palooza, I
Panthers?
fancy
Yeah.
Will.
Yeah. So,
Then we have Seattle and Tennessee. We all took Seattle in that one. Seattle looking good coming off the win against Philly. We have the Colts versus the Falcons. Kind of another important matchup for both teams there. The Colts really need to get it done. The Falcons need to win. Otherwise, even though a 6-9 record, 6-9 would be cool. Not ideal when they're battling for that shit NFC South matchups. So we all took the Seahawks, all took the Colts, and then another shit matchup: the Packers versus the Panthers on Sunday at noon.
Lord help me if we don't win that game.
Yeah, if we don't win this, check on Fancy, send him some messages, some kind ones. But we all took the Packers in that one. Packers need to win that. Then we kind of have an important matchup in the next two, with the Lions and Vikings. We all went Lions, but that is an important game. The Lions got to come out strong and not be the Lions, if you will, that they've been. They kind of, Matt, we said they've gained that momentum, they've gained that swagger back, that mojo. You can't let it go now. You got to let it roll into this game in Minnesota, kick their ass, and then be that team like, okay, the Lions are back. They figured it out. They're back. Like, it's just a little bump in the road. Yeah.
We play them here, and then we play them, last week of the season too at home.
Right.
So obviously it'd be nice to clinch now than have it
So if you guys win this, you guys do clinch?
Correct. Yep.
Gotcha. So it's a
But
clinch
because
game there.
But because we play them twice,
Right.
then
You could
that's
lose
where
this one and win home. Yeah. But Jared Goff plays good in inside stadiums. He doesn't do very good in the cold, so you don't have to worry about that in Minnesota with their
perfect.
new $30 billion stadium. But then we have the Jaguars Bucks. Fancy, like I said to you earlier, I am disappointed that you didn't rock with me on the Bucks. Baker coming off a 381.
I'm hoping I jinx him. I'm hoping it's like a jinx to me.
Yeah.
I'm hoping for this, like, it's like one of those things, like, anytime I've picked the Cowboys, I'm like, let me be wrong.
Yeah.
Please.
The Jags, like I said, though, losing 4 in a row, it's like they're looking for one, right?
It's like, are they going to lose 5?
Yeah, they're due. I mean, you lose 5 in a row after starting off 8-2. That's a rough way to miss the playoffs or not get a higher seed because of it. But Bucks at home for me, Jags may win, but Bucks at home, Baker hot, that offense was looking good against Lambeau. But then we have the Bears Cardinals. Me and Matt went the Bears. Fancy went with the Cardinals. Nothing would make me happier than the Bears to lose to the Cardinals, if I'm being 100% honest with you. But I had to go with the Bears just because I do think that that's the right pick. But I still, with as well as the Cardinals kept up with the 49ers. I'm not saying it was a close game. I'm just saying they scored more on the 49ers than I thought they would. Like, I was like, oh, we gotta, they're scoring, and like you said, when you were going for McCaffrey and Purdy, you're like, keep on going, man.
Yeah, if they keep scoring, then they're going to keep those guys out there fucking running it.
Yeah.
And
so you fantasy owners out there that have CMC, you better hope the Ravens do the same damn thing on Monday night because.
I think they will.
So
I think they will. I think that'll be a really good one.
But no, I mean, I don't know about you, Matt, but we obviously picked the Bears, but I could see them losing.
Right.
Like, it's the Bears.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. Like, I saw what they can do when they played the Lions.
You witnessed it firsthand.
And then you see what they did last week, against the Browns. So I mean, it's good thing it's the Cardinals, I guess, but that doesn't mean that they're going to still play well enough to beat them. But just lesser of two evils.
Yeah.
I think Fields can dominate that game.
One of those wins for the Cardinals was against the Cowgirls. Don't forget.
True. I'll never forget, actually. Never.
I got
literally will never forget that. But I mean, not to like go crazy into like conspiracy theory, but you also got to think about too. What I've said a million times: the Bears have the Panthers' first overall pick, and obviously, the Panthers win one more. The Patriots, Cardinals are in that running. So the Bears got to start thinking about like, do you let the Cardinals beat you and you drop down because they have their own pick too, So do you get 2 top 5 picks, or are you going to beat them and then possibly lose out on that number 1 overall pick with the Panthers? It's like, the Bears season's over, right? So it's like it's that weird tank slash what are they going to do? Do they bench Fields? Do they bench some? You never know. We are getting that part of that weird part of the NFL season where you do see some of that sometimes.
Yeah, you got to
Um,
see with the front office how they want to handle that.
yeah, and what their goals are, if they're going to keep Fields or not. Because if they want to move on, they're going to want Kalen Williams, right? So, but then we have probably one of the matchups of the week that I'll be looking forward to watch for sure. Is the Dolphins Cowboys in Miami. Now I heard Tyreek Hill is still questionable. I don't know if he's questionable because he's got 7 baby mamas. That just came out. Matt, I sent you that. That was interesting. He just got married 2 weeks ago, and like 7 other girls came out that he has a baby with them. That was like,
Yeah,
okay.
that's like
Um,
who is it? Daryl Revis
yeah, Darrell Revis. Yeah,
status. He's just
yeah. I
that's
mean,
insane.
Philip Rivers did it, but at least he did it with one. But
Yeah. Shout out Nick Cannon.
yeah, dude, for real. But I guess Tyreek literally kind of took that porn star role that he said after he was done with the NFL, his career pretty seriously.
Yeah.
Getting to work, getting after it. But we all went Dolphins though. I did think Fancy would stick with the Cowboys, or one of you guys would go Cowboys just because. But man, I mean, the only team the Cowboys had beat above 500 was when Seattle was like 6-5 or something like that, or like something like that. They were like 6-5. They were barely above like 500. That was the
Right.
only team they've beaten. I mean, obviously, and the Eagles once. But like I've said, when you go to divisions and it's Eagles, Cowboys, you guys know how it is, right? When the Bears play the Packers, or the Lions play the Packers, it's like one of those things where if you win one out of the two, you're happy, right? And it's like that's just kind of
Mhm.
how it is for a lot of divisions. It kind of goes 50-50 a lot of the times. Um, but yeah, we all went Miami, which kind of surprised me. Hopefully it's a good game. Hopefully Dak literally throws like 60 passing yards and they lose again. And then Sunday Night Football, we're absolutely blessed on Christmas Eve um, with the Broncos Patriots. So if you want to go to bed early to wake up to Santa Claus, go for it because you're not going to miss out on anything. Um,
Feel free to like pop in like the 2015 AFC Championship instead.
yeah,
You know.
yeah, pop that
Yeah.
in like the
Yeah.
DVR, like just like
Yeah. Yeah. Little NFL classics. Like we can just pretend that's the one that we're gonna watch.
yeah, like wow, we have like, Peyton Manning's still playing, huh? Like
Yeah.
it looks good, it looks good.
That's all I want for Christmas.
Yeah. And then Christmas Day, man, I love Christmas Day football. That's I'm excited. That's gonna
So
be
is that
awesome.
what we have? We have a slate of three
Yes.
Christmas games. Nice.
Yep. 3 Christmas games. We start off with noon Central, 1 Eastern with the Chiefs Raiders, which still could be a good game.
Yeah.
Divisional game. Raiders are, just being that team. They want to smoke some cigars in Kansas City.
Yeah.
But we all went Chiefs there. And then we have the Eagles Giants, still divisional matchup. Tommy DeVito. Hoping the Eagles can, in the link, get it done, get some momentum. They win, Cowboys lose, win-win. And then the Christmas night, gonna be a good game. Gonna be a good game to watch.
Absolutely.
Gonna be a fun, and I think when I think about AFC, NFC, like we talked about Bills, Cowboys, right? They kind of remind you of each other. We talked about Lions and Dolphins. They kind of remind you of each other. Kind of that sketchy, I think the 49ers and Ravens are very, very identical. Not in terms of, star running backs, but they do have star tight ends. They do have good quarterbacks. They have great defense, great offensive line. And it's like,
Great
it's going to
coaches.
be 49ers, yeah, and great coaches. Absolutely great coaches. Would have been still fun to see the Harbaugh brothers go at it back in
Yeah.
just like the Super Bowl. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
But still, great coaches, like you said. But very identical teams. I wish the Ravens had Mark Andrews healthy, and they, just
Right.
and a lot of teams can say that about a lot of matchups, but just for the Christmas night sake, like have these guys healthy going at it. But that for me is one of those things where Lamar's going to be struggling to have those weapons, and Brock Purdy and the 49ers just they have all of it. They have all the weapons they can possibly need. So me and Fancy, I don't know you Fancy, but that's it for me is they I like their defense just as much as I like Baltimore's defense, and I just like the 49ers weapons more than the Ravens. I think it's more consistent, right? So
I mean, yeah, it's like that was a hard one for me to pick. Honestly, I
was.
picked home team.
Yep, that's same with me. I went home and just more offensive weapons. So if Mark Andrews is healthy, I think I lean more. I don't know. So
Yeah, and that injury to Keaton Mitchell last
yeah,
week,
and that's their other explosive player, right? It's
that
it was so
that really
gross.
hurts. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, that was a nasty, another weird knee injury.
It was turf too, right?
I
I think that's what happened was his cleat got
don't.
stuck in it.
Yeah, that's
Where
what it looked like. But
where were they at?
Um,
was that home or is it
Baltimore plays Jacksonville.
Yeah, so I don't know.
I think they were
Oh,
They're at Jacksonville. They're
yeah,
at Jacksonville.
Jacksonville's turf. I think
Yeah.
because of being in Florida, burning the grass.
So
I could be wrong.
mean,
I'll look it up.
I think you're right.
I'm leaning Lamar on this one. I went back and forth. Lamar's kind of my team I had coming out of the AFC. So, I'm still looking at them to win this game. I think Lamar really has shown his leadership, really shown how high of a performance he can do. And then I see, Justin Tucker hitting a 57-yard field goal, either to send it to overtime or win the game. So that's where I leaned on this one.
Yeah. It's so hard because they don't just like say it. It's like you just type in do they use turf, and then it's like pops up pictures of it, and it's like it looks like turf, but is it turf? And then there's pictures of them. Like from this picture, if this is the updated one, it looks like turf, and then there's one that has like grass dying out from the sun, and it's like that's not turf.
Right.
So I don't know. Not that it's super important, but it was a gross one. Another big explosive play guy. We'll see. Hopefully, man, quick recovery from that and comes back next year and just have a great year because he's a fun player, kind of like Devon Achane, just a fun player to watch. Very explosive.
Yeah.
Lots of those guys lately have just been popping out the last couple weeks. But that is it for us on the matchups. Let us know down in the comments, of this thing, who you're taking, who if you're riding with us, if you're going against us. With that being said, we go to our last segment of trivia with Matt. So let's get on right over there. Take it away, Matt.
Absolutely. All right. Welcome to trivia time. Got two questions for you today. Let's work through these together, or go ahead and just take your shots at it. Whatever you guys think. So go ahead and put up that first question for me, Jake. All right. So didn't know how to word this one, so bear with me. I think you know what I'm talking about though. But which teams have the same team names across different major sports? So obviously it might be different cities, but the same team name for these. So
the first thing that pops in mind for me is Cardinals. St. Louis Cardinals, Arizona Cardinals.
Yep, absolutely.
And this is any sports, like major sports.
Yeah, it's the major.
Baseball, hockey.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, it's the major sports.
Got it.
So they don't all cross-reference with NFL necessarily.
I think the Panthers, right?
Yeah, Florida Panthers, Carolina Panthers. That's where I was going to go to.
Yes, sir.
New York Giants, San Francisco Giants.
Spot on. Start thinking hockey.
Yeah.
Might help you.
Nope.
I'm just going through my head like hockey team names, How many? Okay, so how many do we have? We have 3.
Got 3 more.
And there's 3 more. Oh god.
So all right, so think a newer, not a newer franchise, but a comeback franchise for NHL. Within the past probably 5 years now.
The Knights.
No, that's a new team. So I'm a comeback. team.
Oh. Okay.
Mm.
Team that just came back in the NHL. What, am I blind? This is gonna be so easy too. Like once you like, if we don't get it. Oh, but see, there's still 3 other ones. So it's all
There's
NHL.
There's 3. Yeah, these are all NHL teams. One's NHL basketball. One's NHL football. That should be your hint. And then the other one is
One
baseball, baseball, and hockey.
Why is it?
Man,
why
I thought you'd
You s-
run. I thought you'd run through these.
You said NBA, NHL is one.
Yeah.
Correct.
That's why I like in my head. What did you?
Royalty.
Oh, Kings. Sacramento Kings and the LA Kings.
There we go.
Oh,
Yeah.
I basketball. Sacramento Kings were just not on the top of my list
Right.
Of teams. Can what about like Edmonton Oilers, Houston Oilers? Does that even count?
No, that's not on the list,
Okay.
but I like it.
I
like it. I like it.
We'll give you a bonus there. So we got 2 more.
Yeah.
And you said one is NHL
hockey and baseball.
And
one is hockey and NFL.
So we still have one more NFL one.
Yeah. We're done in the AFC South. There's no Titans. There's no.
Is there a Jets?
Colts.
There is a New York Jets, a football team,
and Winnipeg Jets.
There you go. That's when I was trying to give you.
Fancy. Here you go, fancy little alley.
There you go.
Come on now.
That was
I kind of remember some Jets.
That was the hockey when I was trying to.
Okay, so now we have hockey, baseball.
Correct.
We're gonna get it. Just need to work through it. That's all.
AL or NL? Rangers.
I was gonna say champs, but
it's the Rangers. They just won. Yeah.
There you go.
New York Rangers and fucking
New York Rangers.
Wow.
New York Rangers, Texas Rangers.
Wow.
And I gave you an addition.
Yeah, and then you gave me a bonus one. So I mean,
even when you know those, we did talk about that, but we talked about that like a year ago. I feel like,
right?
Yeah. Like, even when you go, it's like I don't remember what it was. You know what I mean? It's like those ones that you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm gonna chalk that one up to a win on my side. I think I stumped.
One on yours. I got a bonus.
All right.
I got one. I got one. I got 2.
You got 1.5. You got 1.5. Yeah. Good job.
1.5.
I got the Jets, the Panthers, and the Rangers.
Fire. We'll edit it back in. We'll put the fire thing next to fancy, like he's on fire, and then put
like
cold
stats.
put a cold. Like
yeah.
All right. Frost. Second one. I think it's on my end. I'm asking the production crew to bear with me.
Oh, you're good. You're good.
All right, there we go. All right. Question number 2. All right. So this one. All right. If you look at the rule book, Rule 11, sections 1 through 5.
This is lawyer talk.
There are ways to score. Okay, just by definition.
Okay.
So give me those. Name the different ways to score in the NFL in an NFL game.
A number of ways. Like how many are there?
So the rule book, there are 4 ways to score. Okay.
Touchdown.
Yes.
Field goal.
Correct.
PAT.
Correct.
Safety.
Correct. Okay. So that's the first part. That's by the rules. Those are the ways to score. I want you to tell me within those ways to score, how could you break that up, if that makes
Turnovers.
sense? So I mean, so obviously you could have an offensive touchdown.
Offensive touchdown,
or defensive touchdown, right?
defensive touchdown.
Okay.
Or special teams touchdown.
So
Correct.
beyond that, there's a couple that I'm kind of looking for, but at the same time, it's on its face.
I mean, you could have like a
touchdown.
What's that?
A blocked point after scored.
Okay, so that's kind of where I'm leaning, right? So there's a point after, right? Break that down.
2-point conversion.
There's a 2-point conversion. There you go. Okay, that was my subsection that I'm kind of thinking about, right? So not only is there a point after, so now, obviously it's a little bit different with the new rules, right? It's you kick an extra point from the 15, or you get to try for 2
on the 2
from the 2, right? But then within that, how else can you score?
You can like punt your field goal in, whatever that's called.
There, see, I wasn't sure if you guys were gonna know that one, right?
They just tried that one this last week, and I was like,
Yeah.
what the hell?
So that's called the fair catch kick. So that's another way to score, is if you call for a fair catch, you can try for a field goal from that spot.
What? Break that down. Do you know?
Yeah. So from anywhere on the field, obviously, like wherever you do a fair catch, you have a untimed down for a field goal try. It's worth 3 points if you kick it through the uprights. The defense have to be 10 yards back. You can either do it as a place kick or a drop kick. We don't see drop kicks,
Right.
except for sometimes off after a safety. We actually see it. You can drop kick it as well. So yeah, that's one we rarely see. We have seen it in recent history though. And then the kind of the back door that I was trying to have you guys think of, is on a point after try, the defense can score.
Yes.
So that was
right.
kind of
you could like run that back, right?
You could run that back. Yep. So
Interesting.
I think that covers everything. That's Fancy. I'm glad that was the one that I really thought I was going to stump you guys on, was the fair catch one. But
Fancy's got it.
But good work, Fancy.
But only because I just saw them try for it. I was like, wait a minute.
Like Fancy's DraftKings salary is going up next week.
Dude, yeah, you're not gonna be able to pick me up for 4,500.
He's that one guy that nobody picks up, and this week he just stumped everyone.
All right, wait. You say that now, Fancy. We're gonna check the socials in the next couple weeks. Let's see how you do in rapid fire trivia.
Oh, yeah, we do have rapid fire trivia. Make sure you guys are following us on TikTok and YouTube. We just hit 50 subs on YouTube, which is kind of a big deal. We've been posting a lot more on our YouTube shorts, so make sure you guys are subbed, have those notifications on. We're trying to grow the YouTube channel as much as we can. We just do this for fun, man. We enjoy doing it. We all love doing it. We do this on our own time. We don't make any money doing it. The goal would be to do that eventually at some point. It'd be sick, to be at that point. But you guys all help us do that every single week that you guys tune in. We appreciate you guys. Make sure you guys are leaving a like in every video. Like I said before, comment some questions, comment some, whatever. That is all that I have for this week. What about you, gentlemen?
Yeah, I think that pretty much wraps it up. I mean, once again, I just still think, like you said, Baker Mayfield's going to get the short end of the stick on what could be one of the better arguments for comeback performance player of the year.
Yeah.
And I almost wish in this case that there was a separate, like a separate way to do that. Because coming off an injury versus just coming off of a rough,
almost like a injury comeback of the year, and then like a second chance or shitty season comeback. You have to change up the word, but whatever. But yeah, we'll see what happens with that. Maybe we can look into some more stats on the comeback player of the years that have been quarterbacks, like what their stats have been compared to like what Baker has now. That'd be a cool thing to look into maybe for next week. But if there's anything else that you guys want to hear, in the podcast, anything you guys want to debate, we didn't really go over fantasy options. I know I'm booted out all of my fantasy leagues. I don't know about you, Matt. I think you lost that week as well.
Tyreek let me down by not playing. And then again I played against James Cook, so I
That'll
got
hurt you.
destroyed.
That'll hurt you. I know someone who played against James Cook and CMC, so imagine having
Wow.
both of them.
Whew.
Not exactly the happiest camper, especially round one. But Matt, you got anything else for us?
Now just excited for Lions to continue this, trending in the right direction.
Yep.
Ready for that announcement that they are, clinching
Quitting?
clinching the North, playoff bound. That's going to be that next, hopefully exciting news leading us into Christmas. So
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Merry Christmas to everyone listening. Happy holidays. We'll be back for one more podcast before the end of the year. But thank you guys so much for listening. If you guys made it all the way through here. And yeah, make sure you guys are checking out our socials. We're gonna be posting. We've been a lot more active, especially on TikTok and YouTube. So make sure you guys are subbed or followed on those things. And yeah, I mean, stay safe, enjoy your time with your families, and happy holidays. See you guys.
see ya.
Bye.